single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Hello, welcome to Tomorrow Again. Please thumbs up this video if you enjoy it, and share this video with whomever you'd like to share it with, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already subscribed. For those of you who are new subscribers, once in a while I'll include a story time in my list of videos, and today that's what I'm gonna do. It's story time. Started giving readings, and I knew I had the ability to tap into certain energies, and I kind of figured, and I still figure, that most people can do what I do. But back then I was brand new to giving readings to other people. So as I began to advertise and began to get more and more customers coming to me for readings, word quickly spread at my job, at just different places, that I was the psychic to see. I'm laughing because it's still hilarious to me that I would be the psychic to see. The local psychic that's good at predicting stuff. So I was working at a particular job. I won't say what the job was, but one of the administrators came to me and said that they would like a reading. And I was a little hesitant, like, this is my job and you're the administrator. If I mess this up, I no telling what could happen. So I was a little skittish to do this reading, but I went ahead and did it. They paid me a fair price, and I began to give them the reading. And as I mentioned, this was a long time ago. Before half the things that I know now, I had no clue what was what back in those days. And this particular person that came to me for the reading expressed a certain fear of what they called, and I'm going to use they as a pronoun because I don't want to give any, speculation to people who may live in my area. I mean, I don't want to put anybody's business out there in the street, so to speak. But this particular person needed help in figuring out what this entity was that had been following them. And they expressed to me that it seems like the entity would only come around when it was needed, during a crisis or during some sort of intervention. This entity would just appear in their life. And I had never heard of Shadow Man. I'd never heard of Hat Man, Dark Man. This particular entity has been given many names over the years, and I didn't have any experience or knowledge of this entity until this person came to me for a reading. So I began to do research. Now back then they didn't have Google and Yahoo and all that. We didn't even have internet back then. So the research was limited. I wasn't really sure what this thing was until someone else came to me for a reading to understand what this type of entity means. And then someone else came for a reading, and then I began to sort of exchange information. And then one day I personally experienced Shadow Man, Hat Man, whatever you want to call it. I personally experienced that. Shadow people. Sometimes shadow people can be children, and the entity that I experienced was a child. And it threw me back. And it was the first time I'd ever seen a ghost. It was, and when I tell you guys something, if I'm not sure, I'm going to relay that to you. If I'm just, you know, talking about horoscopes and it's sort of tongue-in-cheek, I will tell you, I believe in being open and I believe in being truthful. This entity was there. It was real. It was solid. The face of it looked like a child. The body as well. It looked like a child. As a matter of fact, when I saw it run up my hallway towards me, I thought it was one of my kids. It wasn't. The face of this thing or entity or ghost was, it reminded me of slate, like a chalkboard. There was no facial expression. There was no face. There was no features. It was just this oval shaped face that had no eyes, nose, there were no ears, no mouth, none of that. And it just sort of ran toward me and it stopped, and it seems like it saw me and it knew who I was and it knew that there was someone there. And I don't know how it could have known all of this if it couldn't see, if it didn't have eyes. It stopped in its tracks as soon as it was aware that I was there, and then it bent down. And needless to say, at the time I had my lights turned off and I was watching television, so it was hard to really get a clear picture of this little entity. But it bent down as if to pick up something, like a ball or a toy, I don't know, but it bent down, and as it rose back up, it began to not vaporize, but it began to turn into little teeny square pixels. Just little teeny pixels, and then it sort of rose back up and then it was gone. I couldn't believe it. On one hand, I was happy. At least I could relate to my clients that have seen these things. At least now I can say that I can join the ranks of them. I've seen it. I was not hallucinating. It was real. And I think ever since then, I've been more in tune with what shadow people are. In a way, and this is really difficult to explain, but in a way, it's almost like there's a shared space, a shared dimension. And once in a while, these shadow people can sort of cross into our dimension. I don't know the science of it. Ironically, it's not even considered science, but I don't really know the why, and I don't want to speculate just yet. I would like to do a study. I have seen shadow characters several times since I first saw the little boy, and it never ceases to amaze me. But that was my first encounter with something that shouldn't be there. In this world, you wouldn't expect to see a 3D shadow coming at you. I never saw that particular little entity ever again since then, and that's been probably about maybe 20-30 years ago. So if you've experienced shadow persons, shadow entities, leave a comment in the comment section. What do you think it is? What has your experience been with shadow people? They seem to be harmless, and it seems like a lot of my clients are reporting to me that shadow people seem to come before an event or as a warning of a particular situation. I really honestly don't know, but I really honestly do know that shadow people are real. I don't think they come to scare people, but that movie with Freddy Krueger, that character reminds me of shadow man or shadow creatures. Even though Freddy Krueger is not a shadow, but he does sort of, the character does sort of affect people at certain times, although that particular character is supposed to be negative, evil. But there's no evidence in my experience that shadow people are necessarily bad or negative. So once again, leave a comment in the comment section and let me know what your experience has been with shadow people or any type of entity. I would love to hear your story. Let me know how that has affected your life, because it does. It affects your reality. It affects everything. Once you see these type of things, it really changes who you are, and it really changes your belief system. So just let me know, and particularly if you have a child who is experiencing entities, please let me know that in the comment section. So I hope you've sort of been entertained by this story time. It's a real story. And I don't know, the lady that first told me about Shadow Man, I don't know if she had any other experiences, but she came to me several times throughout the years with the exact expression of wanting to understand what these entities are. I wish you guys the best during this time of the year and throughout the rest of the year. I wish you guys the best. Try to hang on to positive vibrations, especially if you're feeling down, you're feeling left out of the loop, you're feeling taken advantage of, whatever negative emotions that you might be dealing with. Please understand that beyond the horizon, there is something good waiting for you in this world. There's always something good around the corner. Try to fill your mind, your surroundings with positive energy. If it weren't true in my life, I wouldn't be sharing this information with you. It really does work to fight through negative thinking and force yourself to embrace the positive. This is Tomorrow again, wishing you the best of the best.